Welcome, Prime communities, ladies and gentlemen from the Prime community. It's an immense pleasure for me today, on behalf of Prime Global Student Initiative, to open the first PGS annual summit ever. And I am so honored to share the screen with great guest speakers. One of them, Rakeli, is just joining us soon. Today on this opening remarks, we're gonna explain a little bit more about the importance of student agency to foster the Prime mission, bring some examples from the ground to illustrate our session. And I have the pleasure to have Dr. Haifeng, Prime board member with us from China. He's gonna explain us a little bit about how important are students in the core of Prime mission. Then we're gonna, Dr. Haifeng will pass the word to Dr. Divya Singhal from the Goa Institute of Management in India. She will describe from the faculty perspective how important are the students shaping responsible management education and taking action towards sustainability within and behind their classrooms. Then I will speak a little bit about the PGS journey so far, what brings us here to this beautiful day that we are kicking off the PGS Summit, definitely a milestone in our history. Then our friend Rakeli Kuria, who will join us, the PGS regional leader in Africa and a student in Strathmore University in Kenya. She will explain us about the importance of spaces of global cooperation like the Prime Global Students to empower the local agents on the ground. And we will end up with my dear friend, Young Lee, Marco,
Hello, everyone.
The coordinator of the PGS Talks, the person behind, not only him, it's important us to also remark the outstanding contributions of the PGS Talks team. Today, we also have here with us Mary Bezar from Philippines as our tech facilitator, helping us behind the scenes. But Marco has brilliantly leading this group of students through the organization of the PGS Summit. So I will stop here. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for joining us. Please, Dr. Haifeng, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sawadee-ka, Namaste, Annyeonghaseyo, Konnichiwa, Namaste, Sabadi, Salom, Aloha, Bonjour, Guten Tag, Hola, Ciao, Private, Sea, Hello, Welcome. Hello, everybody. My name is Haifeng Huang. I come from China, where I live one beautiful highland island. In my life, I have traveled over 80 countries. I really love the world. Diversity and the different culture and the beautiful people in the world. I would like to express my key words. Lighting up the world with young people. Young youth creates better future. I'm greatly honored to give an opening speech to you as a global member of Primary Steel Committee and a co-founder of Ecological Development Union International at this first PRME Global Student Summit. First of all, I would like to thank the young organizers of this conference. With your great leadership, all of you have overcome various difficulties due to the COVID-19 pandemic and brought outstanding young representatives around the world together under the flagship of sustainable development. I was working over 30 years at universities. I'm proud of being a primary global member working along with you as great young leaders. I can see that the world can be full of hope by these great young minds. As you know, in the 21st century, facing a variety of enormous challenges, the development of human society now is standing at an important crossroads. The previous approach of economic growth has led to unsustainable development of the global economy because it depends heavily on the consumption and the unfair distribution of natural resources, which causes serious environmental crises and social inequality that we are confronting today. Because GPS Summit 2022 as the first youth conference is a milestone for the sustainable development of human society. It has great social significance for the world. PGS Summit pays special attention to the ideas of young talents, and young people play the leading role in this event. If more global meetings of this kind bring together more and more young leaders around the world, our world will be filled with hope. If human society wants to sustain its development, it is extremely important to embrace the perspectives and the wisdom of young people. As more young people agree with the vision of the PRME, young people, future leaders of human society, can form shared global values that overcome the bias generated by differences in nationality, culture, and customs to go beyond the short-sighted ideological constraints. This will help to protect the earth and allow us to truly appreciate the natural wonders of the earth in the harmonious way. I sincerely hope today's young people around the world use your wisdom to promote the sustainable development of human society, instead of being fully occupied with vicious competition for purely economical interests. For the peace and the progress of humanity, young people around the world need to learn and understand and cooperate with one another for the inclusive development of the world. So please realize that your ideas are very important. You need a PRME, but the PRME needs you more. And the sustainable global development needs you. We are so glad to meet you from the bottom of our hearts. We warmly welcome you, please. Warm welcome to the PGS Summit 2022. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Professor Haifeng. Thanks for the kind words. Let's listen for our brilliant colleague, Divya Singhal, professor at the Goa Institute of Management. Please, Divya, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. First of all, greetings to everyone. Dr. Huang has mentioned in all languages. So I also copy and pass on my greetings to everyone. He was talking about the hope and the student involvement. I see student involvement as a mechanism for inclusion towards responsible management education. I see student involvement as an authentic input. If we involve students in decision making, it will actually strengthen the quality of education and which they will receive, and it will also make them more aware and more responsible citizens. Now the question can come, how we can involve students within the classroom and beyond classroom. Sometimes we know as educators within the classroom how to involve students. So one can involve students in a variety of different ways, including surveys. Now, PIR is a voice of students, student representation in various committees, open houses, involving them in curriculum redesign, or assigning them responsibility like newsletter. In our institute, we have in my center, Center for Social Sensitivity and Action, every quarterly we publish a newsletter on SDGs. And the students are made responsible, student team is made responsible to run this newsletter. So assigning them responsibility to handle newsletters or magazines. I'm really fortunate that I teach a couple of courses. So I'm constantly in touch with these young minds, young students. Interacting with these students have given me lots of hope and made me realize that future is in good hands because they are thinkers. They would really like to contribute to the betterment of the societies. Whether in class or outside class, they ask very important questions, sometimes very difficult too. However, this happens only when, as educator, we are successful in creating that safe space to voice their opinion freely. Sometimes we can educational to create that a culture where learning how to learn becomes the thrust. If that happens, if we are able to create the learning how to learn is our thrust, then students can self-direct and they will take charge of their own learning. So what we need to create educational systems that is not based on rote learning and not based on just a theoretical concept. Of course, theoretical concepts are very important, but when we talk about the management education, and I've been telling this on various platforms, we need to seriously think beyond functional silos. We need system thinking approach, and to allow more involvement, our classroom should also change. We should transition from sage on the stage to guide by the side philosophy. We need use of more and more simulation-based classroom. If we are bringing more simulations in our classroom, what will happen? It will allow students to take decisions, engage them in meaningful process of analyzing, teaching and learning. We also need to ensure what kind of opportunities are we providing outside our classroom. So in our Goa Institute of Management, we have a service learning based course, which is known as Give Goa. And as part of this Give Goa, students go out and interact with community. It has the action component as well as reflection component. Now, PGS, I see PGS is one such platform which involves students. In our center also, as I was mentioning, the newsletter and other activities are run by students. When students discuss the issues which are affecting them, what happens, or the issues which society is facing, that increases their general knowledge, that increases their perspective, that broaden their horizon, and students also feel valued, and they have a sense of belongingness that we are giving back to the institution, we are giving back to the society. So what we need to make students or provide them more agency by involving them in variety of different things. Maybe participatory action research. That is another wonderful way of engaging the young minds, because they will interact and they will live through the implications of their discussions. So we will not be able to achieve Agenda 2030 if we are not involving students, if we are not sensitizing students towards the grand challenges. They are the future leaders, or they are the leaders of today also. So their active participation towards Agenda 2030 is very, very important. Last but not the least, I am reminded of, because Dr. Huang was talking about the hope. So that reminded me Robert Frost poem, and I would like to end my speech by Robert Frost poem. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you, and welcome once again to PGS Annual Summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much for these important words, Professor Divya. It's a pleasure to have you. And as you said, these spaces of collaboration are important because the students are taking action now. So the question is like how we can offer iSpace as a network, as a global infrastructure prime, how can we offer a space for these connections between student organizations so we can foster their student agents and their impact. So this brings me to my presentation on the Prime Global Students Initiative and our journey so far. So I think you all can see my screen, right? So let's start. Um, as you all know, Prime is the largest organizing network between the United Nations and management-related higher education institutions. We have more than 880 signatories across the world. We also have many regional chapters and working groups, but the most important number for us is that Prime is also a community of 4 million students. And within this student body, we have thousands of student organizations. So one of the first directions we took while creating PGS last year was let's work with these students organizations. Let's understand they are driving change within and behind their campuses. And they're not only talking with students, they are active players on our ecosystem, engaging with business, foundations, international institutions, and so on. So the central question was like how to understanding the power of these local actions, how can Prime promote a global cooperation and coordination among these players? Because that's what networks deliver, right? So by doing so, we are empowering student organizations with the focus on sustainable development and responsible management by increasing their local and global connection to each other, but as I said, with further players in the university ecosystem, accelerating their impacts and Prime impact on the decade of action. And how to do so? So the second direction we took was, okay, Paulo can create something from New York, right? It's like, it's not efficient, not fun, and even arrogant to think that a solution will come from one person. So let's build a team. And the first step we took was building an amazing team of regional leaders and sub-regions. On this panel, we have Yang Li from China and Rakeli Kuria from Kenya. And these students, they went out in the Prime Global community, mapping and connecting students' organizations to our third direction on that process, that was a collaborative global programmatic development process. So we pick up the business, the mainstream framework of business development, a research phase, and a design phase, but we did that collaboratively and in a global scale. So we have more than 65 students from 25 different countries going through our focus groups, going to our design think, in a sense that the final user of the network were the initial builder, right? Two major outcomes from that process. First, this group defined 3 fundamental pillars, 3 action-oriented pillars that together as a single community, the PGS community can walk through and empower the local agency. The first was awareness, so generating greater awareness on the topics of responsible management and sustainable development, not only among students, but also promoting their student organizations to a larger audience. The second was advocacy, that is taking advantage on this, the current youth protagonism in global issues. How can we ensure the student voice on the most important panels, but also on research? And finally, collective action. How can we explore students as a driving force between business and academia to solve real life problems and to foster what we call the green job market, right? Sustainability-oriented professionals. Okay, from these 3 pillars, we went through the design phase, and from 30 projects, we selected 7 of them that serves as tools to address these pillars. We have a newsletter, we have the social media, we have a column on the Prime blog, we have the PGS Career, our Department of Careers. They are developing mentorship programs, career fairs. we have the Journey for Impact. This is a group of students studying, building guidelines for other student organizations to understand and measure their impact. We have the Ambassador Program, that is a 10-week workshop training organized by students for students. We create in Latin America, and now we are replicating in France, Benelux region. And finally, we have the PGS Talks, our Department of Events, the driven force behind the organization of the PGS Summit. Okay, each one of these projects is developed and implemented by global task force of students. So students from different parts of the world are coming together to manage this process, to this project. So PGS is a network by and for students. We serve students, but the engine behind our machines are also students. You might be asking how to engage. PGS, you can both engage in as a builder, so being part of the regional leaders team and the global task force. We just finalize the selection application process, or being the user. That is all as important. So I call all the students and the student organizations watching us to get in touch with the regional leaders in your region and explore our project as tools for your local agents. Okay, I will close saying that one of the most beautiful things of PGS is that it's mainly composed by business students, and business students many times are taught about competition, right? And competition is very important because it's foster innovation. PGS is a lab for students to also understand the value and absorb skills on cooperation. So cooperating with other students all over the world, develop empathy, adaptability to diverse, even working different time zones. So it's a different lab to develop different skills. Besides that, we want to empower your local agents. So I will stop right now, and I will pass the word to Rakeli Kuria, my dear friends, regional leader in Africa. And Rakeli will tell us a little bit about how was for her the experience of being a regional leader and how it impacts her life journey. Excuse me, I will need to jump off because I will be organizing the next session that will start in a couple of minutes. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr. Haifeng. Thank you, Divya, Marco, and Rakeli. See you around the summit. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Paulo, for that warm invitation. And thank you, Marco, and everyone else who has been able to join us here today. Thank you for all the people that spoke before me. My name is Rakeli Kuria, and I was the Regional Lead Africa, as well as the co-lead for the Careers Program. And I would say my journey within PGS has been phenomenal, and it has been life-changing, because I got to be a part of something. I hope everyone can hear me. I got to be from the ground up, and I got to experience it. And when Paulo says that it is for the students and by the students, I think we can all bear witness, because from the moment from the research phase to the design phase, every single moment.
Hi, Rakeli. Hi, Rakeli. Sorry to disrupt. Like, your sound have some problems. Cannot hear you very clearly. Okay, now it's better.
This is better?
Yeah. Keep going.
Oh, great. Thank you. My apologies. And being able to be a part of the process. And again, I think as Paulo had said, and I believe a lot of the things I will say will be a repetition of what has been already said. And the first is coming to PGS. And before, I used to think that sustainability was big measures. When we came to responsible management, before I used to actually ask myself, what exactly can I do that can help to further this cause? And being a part of this process, being a part of this process, being able to see PGS moving from the research phase to the design phase allowed me to be able to practice skills that I had learned conceptually even within the classroom, and being able to bring it here and interact with students and experience different cultures. And being a part of PGS is a phenomenal experience, and being a part of an organization that works to build, and being a part of an organization that works to empower students is an amazing process, and you learn so much, both as an active participant, as you have seen in Paulo's slide, and within the task forces and out of it. And I would encourage, I think, anyone who is here and has not yet joined PGS, please welcome, please join. And everyone who is both an active and passive member, I am so very excited for you, and I cannot wait for you to see all that is coming in store. With that, allow me to hand over to Marco, and thank you everyone again for taking the time to be here. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you in different sessions. Marco, over to you.
Thank you, Rakeli. And thanks for the great talks from Dr. Haifeng and Dr. Divya, and also Paulo. So, hi everyone, I am Yang Li Marco from Peking University in China. And I'm now the coordinator of the PGS talks. And I'm also the co-host of today's summit. First, I would really thank you for joining us. And today we have the attendees who are student, initiative leaders, faculties, private and public sector leaders, and entrepreneurs. And I'm very glad to meet you all online. And as a leader of the PGS talks, we are very privileged to organize this first Prime Global Student Annual Summit. So, to let you know more about our summit, I will show you around about our summit agenda to let you have an outlook of our summit. So now we are doing the opening plenary, and it's coming to the end. And afterwards, we will have the Professor Huang Lu. He will give a talk about the responsible management education, about how they run with youth and how they work with youth. And afterwards, we have a panel discussion around the topic of innovative ideas and purposeful action, the youth, their action. And afterwards, it will be moderated by Kuria from Malaysia. And also afterwards, we will have the PGS talks or keynote speech from the Dr. Shrifa. And afterwards, we will have also PGS talks from Abdullah Ali. He will give a talk about enabling local connections to drive the systematic global change. And also afterwards, we will have PGS networks. In this section, we will have many student organizations. They will show their projects, very astounding work they did. And this session will be moderated by Diego from Australia. And afterwards, we have Professor Debbie. He will give the presentation about the inclusive prime of PRME. And also in the end, we will have the closing remarks. We will meet the new regional leaders of PGS, our PGS networks. So this is the outline of the Eastern Bloc today, this afternoon and this morning and this night. So now I would like to invite all of you to jump to our next session, the session in Zoom B. The session will be the PGS talks given by the Professor Huang Lu. And Zoom link in the chart, and we will see you soon there. Okay, so thank you for joining and see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.